tonight is the night that I become an accessories designer. Why, you might ask? Because I had a piece of scrap leather that's been sitting in my room for about a year, and there's nothing that I can think to do with it. Like, it's not big enough to do anything else. So, bag it is. Can't be that hard, right? Right? The only time that I've sewn leather was for my leather jacket that I made. The 2-layer leather jacket, the yellow and black one. And it was very difficult on my sewing machine at home. I have a heavy duty Singer. Miss my brother so bad, miss my brother. But I've never done that on my home machine. And it ate like 7, 8 needles minimum when I did that project, just doing that. But I will admit I was kind of tweaking, because who's ruching leather? Like, I hand ruched leather. I was sewing ruching. I was sewing channels between ruch. I was doing a lot. Cute jacket. Love that jacket down. But so we're gonna see. Does that mean that the bag is gonna look good? Who knows? I've never made a bag before, but we're gonna try it. So this is editing honor. Get a good look at this mask because you're gonna come to know it. Just to kind of preface this before I get any further in the video, this bag was a random project that I decided to do right before I got the call to make the humongous bag. I made a huge imitation Chanel bag almost 3 months ago now, and it was used in a music video. And I did not, like, this was probably 3 weeks before I got the call to make that bag. I was getting prepared to do that insane project. So I just felt like I needed to add that in because that's just some fun lore to add to the video. Doing my research. All right, so homeboy in this video is doing a lot of math. It's not so bad, but I do not have enough leather to do the dimensions that he's doing in this video. Shout out to Quarter Leather. Shout out, because I'm about to use your method to make this bag. I'm gonna do a mini version of whatever he has in as his base in this video, and we'll see how that goes. This is high-key taking me back to when I used to make boxes and cubes in middle school. Because yes, I was the box and cube queen. I remember after I graduated from making paper boats, I started making cubes. Also, this is like a little side thing. I'm thinking about, for the first time, those paper boats that I used to make back in middle school. And I haven't thought about it for years, but I was a business owner. I was a business owner at 10. Yes, I was. Because I was coloring index cards with crayon, and you know, like the little waxy, the wax that a crayon is made out of. I was like, oh, that's kind of like a coating. So I was coloring different sides of the index card. So like one side would be yellow fully and the other side would be blue fully. And then I would make a paper boat. And y'all, I was selling those for $1 or $2. I was like, and they float, y'all. So you better come up here and get you one of these, because mine floated. Ugh, so business minded, so savvy. I'm gonna be sewing on my home sewing machine, which is probably gonna ruin my machine. And then I also don't have a hole punch, the thing that has the 3, and I just don't have the proper materials for this project. This is literally so sporadic. I'm trying to use what I have on hand and get used to using the things that I have, because I've had these things just sitting in my closet for so long, and I want to make something. So, updated project materials. We are actually going to make 2 bags instead of 1, because I forgot I have the green too. So I'm going to start with the green because it's going to be easier, and then I'm going to figure out the brown one and also get more hardware for the brown one. I'm not working with a lot of the leather, so we're gonna keep the bag as small as possible, and then add like all of the embellishments and stuff. It's only gonna be like strips. I designed a bag yesterday. I designed 2 of them, the green and the brown. I drew it because I've literally never made a bag before, so it's not something that I can like completely visualize in my head. And I also did some Pinterest research to help me with, you know, like a design idea, and then added my little flair of things that I usually add in my clothes. I think we're just gonna wing it, and if we mess it up, that is what it is. I've never done it before, so we're just gonna try something. We're just gonna try it. We're gonna have fun. Design we're working with, it's pretty easy. All I need to do is do the corners correctly, and it like slopes up, and then I'll probably sew this individually on there instead of making it one pattern piece, because I don't think I have enough of the leather for that. So we're gonna figure it out. And then like little loop embellishments, I have a bunch of D-rings, and like I was saying, those little hooks from that vest that I'm never gonna wear again, I'm probably gonna take it off and then do that. Coffee first. Coffee always first. So this is pretty much what we're working with. This is probably the widest part of the green that I have, and then we have some of this thickness here, and then we have this little piece right here. So I'm probably going to start with figuring out how big I can make the body of the bag. So probably right here. I actually think I can work around this and make it a little wider, because I need to put in my like pleat depth. I'm actually not sure what it's called. I forgot what they were calling it, but that little cutout right there that makes the bag on the bottom. So I could probably make it wider as long as this is my cutout for me to sew it together. So down to the bottom, I think it's about, so I can make it 12 inches. That means when it folds up, it can be about 6 inches, which is pretty good. Like, that's pretty good for a small bag. So I'm going to put this on a cutting mat. I'm actually going to cut this just so that this edge is a little straighter, because it's not across, like straight across. I'm going to use my L square. It's actually not that like, that work? Almost. Okay. Now that this is mostly a straight edge, I'm just gonna cut off this excess so I know how much I'm really dealing with here. Slowing my roll. I found a bigger piece of leather, so I think I might use this instead, because I can get a bigger bag out of this one. Okay. Not going to be able to see the pencil much, but I can't see it at all. Trying to see if anything will work. I should probably be doing this first on like paper, like I said. I think I want it to be like 4 inches. So like the guy was saying on the YouTube channel, you're gonna do 2 inches on one side. Well, this is if you want to do a 4 inches of depth. You're gonna do 2 on one side, then 2 on the other side, and then seam allowance 1/4 inch. So it's gonna be 2 1/4 inch on each side. First part is marked. I made like mad mistakes, but it's fine now. And so we're just gonna cut. Okay, we've got our first part. Now, I'm probably gonna give it like this much before I start. Yeah, that seems good. Maybe like an inch. I'm gonna give it an inch before I start tapering in. So from like the inch here and then on the other side. General shape is done. So there's this like strip that goes all the way across with the D-rings. I think that I'm going to do that part now before I put the rest of it together, like before I start sewing the entire thing together, because it'll probably be way more difficult later. So the one will go on this side, another will go on this side, and then I'm gonna have a smaller, slightly smaller strip in the middle of these two. Just gonna put like a little hole to where I want it to be. Okay, so now we are encroaching on the moment of truth. My stitch length is all the way up. Number 4. So that's literally the widest it can get. Well, I think that's pretty good. Now, let's see if it can do 2 layers. Oh my god, I'm starting to sweat. It's not so bad. My favorite thing is my lighter. And then I can cinch these edges. Okay, now again, now that that's done, the top stitching for everything, I'm gonna put everything back where it was supposed to go, just so I know. This one was supposed to go this way, and then this one will go somewhere in the middle, and then we're gonna use my leather glue. I'm gonna actually use 2 D-rings per side. Okay. So this little piece is finished now, so I'm gonna baste it on to the front of the bag. Before anything else, I'm just gonna like freehand cutting out the lining. I'm gonna just cut it exactly like it is here. For the part that hooks like in the front with those little embellishments, I was going to just sew on the bottom of the bag, like along the edge right here, but it's gonna look weird because there's no seam here. So just to make the back of the bag look a little more interesting, I'm going to have this come all the way to this side and then have the loop there. Finished. Ugh. And then when you fold it and then do the thing later, perfect. Now, full transparency, I know that I just watched all those videos yesterday of how to sew a bag, but I completely forgot. So yeah, time to watch more, I guess. So I'm gonna start sewing them together. I'm honestly gonna be so careful. Then there's this part. So this is all sewn together on these sides, and then basically it just goes together like this. So this is what the bag looks like so far. I think it's cute. This is what it looks like in the back. It wasn't as hard as I expected. The only thing now is that I have to do like the flap that goes over. And in my head, I was like, I should probably draft that and then sew it on before I sew the side seams together. But I didn't. So we're gonna see if I can do it without that. And if not, I'll just like seam rip them a little bit. So I'm just going to take another large piece of my leather and then do a straight line, cut a straight line down the middle. So this is just gonna go like right across the top of the back. So it's not gonna need that much to roll over. So I'm gonna do something like this, right? And then see where my hooks are. And I know that they're... So I stuffed the bag because it would be easier to figure out where everything goes. And then I clipped this just so it looks like it goes together. Just so I know that when it folds, it'll be about that, so that I could start making my markings for where everything else goes. So I want that to be kind of like right there. So I'm gonna, and then I know that between these marks, I want it to make a circular cutout. And this is the shape that we have right now. Before doing anything else, I'm going to see if I can still know how to do a lining. Went and changed my foot and my thread, and then put the stitch length back to 2, just so that it accounted for working with a thinner fabric. Okay, so this by no means is a tutorial, but just in case you are actually using this to make your own bag, hopefully not, because I'm figuring this out as I go. What you saw is me put the bag inside like this, right? This is cool. This is how you do a lining. The thing is, you need an opening to be able to turn it inside out. Luckily, you know, I am opening this seam right here, and I'm gonna like push the bag through, but this is not ideal. When you're doing something like this, you probably want a seam down the middle. I should have made one, and it would be easier to pull the lining through, like in the seam right here. Like, just say that this was the seam and then this was the seam, and I had this much of an opening. It would have been easier to turn the lining. Should have done that, but didn't. And I know for next time, but I'm gonna force it through this hole, or maybe like open this seam up a little bit more and see if that works. I managed to get it in there. There's a lot going on here. Usually I would like edge stitch this down, but all of these layers are like folding in. So I, again, don't want to ruin my sewing machine, but I think I'm going to do the stitch across the front at least. So I ended up stuffing it just so that I have a good idea of where I'm supposed to attach these hooks, and she looks pretty cute. I would have made this lower. I mean, I know for next time, like I probably would have made it a little farther down, so probably like right here, just so that there was a little more on the edge. But I could also just put a hook and eye there, or a snap. So my biggest blunder so far in this process is that I attached the lining on the inside, right, without putting anything for my straps. So I am gonna have to top stitch my loops that are going to attach to the strap. And it will be sewn into the lining. Video. I hope y'all enjoyed watching, and also do that. I know that I didn't have an actual intro, which is crazy because I didn't think I was gonna make this video, but I literally got the impulse, like you saw in the beginning, to make this bag at like 3 a.m. So trust and believe, maybe like 2 or 3 videos in, you guys will get an intro. And it's going to be fantastic, and it's going to be amazing, and I hope you come back to come watch it. Don't know what it's going to say yet. It might be in English, it might be in Italian, who knows? But stay tuned and find out. Again, I hope you enjoyed, and get ready to see me do literally everything on this channel, because I have no idea what I want it to be about, but it's going to be great.